You're live. Hi, everyone. My name's Lori Deets. I'm here in the festival office where the action happens, and I'm here with the girls that make the action happen. Amanda Farnel, operations manager, and Sarah Simison, the director of the Festival of Words. Hi.
Hi. Thanks for coming.
It's good to be here. It's good to be out. I've been out. I've been busy. I've been talking to people, and it's a great day. I'm really excited for spring to come, which is very closely followed by summer, and of course, the 2022 Saskatchewan Festival of Words coming up which is what we're here to talk about today.
In person.
In person.
And virtual.
And virtual. So we are coming to you here, as I said, from the Festival of Words office, which is located on Treaty 4 territory, which is the homeland of the Cree, Assiniboine, Saulteaux, Lakota, and the homeland of the Métis. So welcome, and welcome to wherever you guys are joining in from. Hopefully we have people from all across Turtle Island at some point, maybe not right this very minute, but at some point I'm sure you'll be signing in and watching us. So to start off with, how are you?
Good. Yeah, today was a busy day.
Yeah.
And we're still talking a lot about it's happening. April through July is it's just like a roller coaster. We're just headed straight for the festival, so things get really busy for us. And there's still kind of part of us that's like, wow, it's going to be in person, like real people in rooms and people like authors flying here. And so we're still, the reality of it, I guess, is still setting in.
So when is the last time we had a festival launch in the office here?
It was 2019.
2019. And have we done any virtual since then?
We've just released the information. We haven't done an actual launch
Yeah, it's been a while.
event. So
Yes. I'm going to keep saying we because I'm still part of the festival, even though I'm not on the board
We
anymore,
were
but
always part of the
I am
festival.
still we. So.
Yeah, you're part of the family.
So I think, of course, the biggest thing we're going to talk about today is, the difference between online, in person, how you guys have found your way. And let's go back to when we first decided we were going virtual. What did you think? What did you feel?
Terrified. Terrified. I mean, anyone that's been with the festival before, we didn't do really any virtual programming at all. So it was just kind of going, okay, how do we do it? How do we run an online event? And luckily we were later on in the year where a few people have already done online events, so we could see what we liked and what we didn't like and how we wanted to host it.
Yeah, it was nice in the sense that we weren't, when the pandemic first hit and things were getting shut down, at first it was like, well, we've got some time, and then we realized very quickly we need to make some decisions. We don't have as much time to wait and see what happens. I think in the beginning it was sort of like, maybe this will just go away in a month, maybe we'll be okay. And so luckily we have a lot of great colleagues across the country and in our community that are trying to run programs too, but talking to other literary festivals and getting together online and having meetings and talking about what is everybody doing. And the Festival of Literary Diversity in Brampton, Ontario was one of the first to go online. The Fry Festival in Moncton, I think, was before that. And they hosted a little online info session so they could talk about don't do this or this worked really well. So we were able to learn a lot from each other, a lot of information sharing, which was good. And the first thing I tried to do, because I am not the techie person in this office, Amanda is definitely that person. So what I tried to do was really, reach out to colleagues and talk to our funders and reach out to our artists, where I just let Amanda kind of go down the rabbit hole of playing with technology. So she sent me this one trial video I still remember, and it was just a looping video of her yelling at her cat or something, right? And it was just she was just how does this system work? What does it look like when you're streaming it?
Yeah, when you're testing things out and you need to see what multiple camera angles are gonna look like on a screen together, and it's just one person, I was setting up video cameras all around my house. And we're just having weird little meetings of there's a tree branch blowing in a breeze.
Yeah.
And, there's my cat laying on the couch. And we're all in this meeting together
That's
to
right.
see how it would look like and how we could
Right.
adjust things. So yeah, it was a lot of just me sitting in my house being like, does this look like something? Ignore anything that's in the video, just like the style.
She learned a lot though, like our funders really loved what they saw, and we've even had other artists and organizations contact us and say, can you run an online event for us, because we don't know what we're doing and you are running some good stuff. So it's really become like a little bit of a fundraiser
Yeah.
for the festival in terms of running some online programs for other organizations. So there was kind of a bonus that came out of that.
So I'd like you both to tell me more about your roles and what your role is at the festival and how that's evolved through the pandemic. Because you guys probably have different jobs today than what you did when we went into the pandemic. And that's something that is really interesting to me too. I think that people's roles should always change and grow, right? You don't have the same job forever.
Mm-hmm.
Well, especially Amanda. Amanda has worked like every single
It's
role
true.
you could possibly
It's
work for this
true.
organization, leading up to I was off on parental leave for a little bit, so she was the interim executive director. So she's done everything. Her role has changed significantly over the years.
It's true, and my role is a lot more tech based now.
Yeah.
Which,
Well, that's what I was going to say. What I was curious what your answer was going
Yeah.
to be in terms of like how you saw the change from when you were hired as operations coordinator, and we wrote that job description to like what you're doing today.
yeah, it's a tech, a lot of programming, and and doing tech for other people, and so that's a huge part of my job now. I'm also, you can't see it, but I have the mouse back here. I'm also controlling the stream right now.
See, you have to be able to do everything.
Yes, it's a very small operation.
That's right. And I don't know, like, I guess the opposite for me is like I've moved further away from tech. I guess like I was in Amanda's position before I was executive director, so I was the one who kind of had to look after social media and things like that. And so in my role, I really had to learn to step back and realize like I can't do everything. I can't do everything, unlike Amanda, who's like working the mouse back here. But I can't do everything. But I have to make sure that the right people are in place to make sure things run smoothly. So I guess kind of letting that side of things go has been an experience for me. I don't know. How have you seen my role change? I don't know how to describe it. I'm still involved with programming. I work with funders a lot. I work with a lot of artists, and I guess one thing is like program creation. I'm constantly working with partners and people, and how can we work together, and how can we get artists, paid to do the work that they do and bring arts to the public, and how do we enhance literacy in schools and with the adult population. So I guess the more years I put in with the festival, like the deeper and deeper I get ingrained in that mentality. So my job is different every day, or I'm doing something different, and one year to the next doesn't look the same, even though the festival is kind of the same framework. People come to the festival and it feels familiar to them, so there's a familiarity there. But we do like to challenge, as people know who attend, we do like to challenge them with new artists and new ideas and things like that. So making sure we're creating challenging programming still is really important to me. So.
And it's very important for any of the viewers that don't know this. The festival is so much more than the festival. It almost needs a new name. The festival doesn't just run a 4-day festival in July. They have multiple programming throughout the year that they're planning for and doing. So tell me about what a year in the festival was like.
Well, I always start talking about our year in September, which sounds like a really weird time to start, but our office is closed in August, and I always say it's been like that for as long as I've been around and longer. And I always say, because we need that time off to like remember why we love our jobs, because we're so exhausted after the festival. So we take that holiday. So really, like our planning year really starts in September. So we come back from holidays in August, in September we jump right into planning for the next summer's festival. So we often get artists or publishers contacting us in like April, May, or June saying, how can we get to the festival in July? But our lineup is usually confirmed by January or February each year. So we do spend all of those months planning for that. And then we normally have a Performers Cafe program that was on hiatus for a little bit because of COVID that we're bringing back in now, which is an open mic night that happens monthly. We run a film series that happens monthly, independent and foreign film. We bring it to Moose Jaw because those are the films that don't normally come to the cinema here. And then we also have a lot of partnership events where we bring artists in for like National Indigenous Peoples Day, or in the art gallery we'll do a partnership and bring a author into the art gallery to do read poetry amongst the artwork, the exhibition that's on there, partnership programs with the library and things. And then we also have an ever expanding program called Writers in Schools. And so we bring authors and literary artists of different sorts, because we've brought in spoken word artists, we've brought in haiku writers, a bunch of different genres, comic book artists and writers as well. So, and even musicians, singer-songwriters, into schools to do programs with students. And the goal of that program is, of course, to enhance literacy in schools and to let students know that being an artist, you can grow up and be an artist. People can make a living doing this. You can do it, right? Because it's something that they don't really talk about in school. Like my dad, don't work in the arts, he said. He just told me the other day, you didn't listen to me. Did I miss any programs? I feel like
I think you've covered
a lot
it.
of stuff. We do a lot.
You do. You definitely do a lot. I always laugh. Being on the board, at one time they had a board up here of everything that they did, and until you see it all at once, it's quite a, I don't even know what to call it. Like you said, though, you got to start in September and go through, because just the way things are timed for certain grants and all of those things. So, what was your biggest challenge of the pandemic, do you think?
Switching to virtual, for sure, but that was kind of the same.
The biggest challenge for me, and like you were gone part of it, but the virtual for me wasn't too bad, because I knew there was some way to do it, and I figured I could figure it out. For me, it was the second year of the pandemic, the second year of virtual, when nobody wanted to participate in virtual stuff anymore, but you couldn't really do in person. People also didn't want to appear in person either, so you're just kind of trying to throw stuff out there and see, and no one's going to be happy with it because it's not post-pandemic, right?
Yeah.
So that was the hardest part for me, was
People were mad because things were still virtual, but they weren't. They didn't want to come in person stuff either, right? So we did have like some people who came to some in-person events. We live streamed a lot of our events into the theater here, so the capacity is like 430 in the theater. So people were really able to like, create, comfortable spacing, and it was really open. But there weren't a lot of people there. But we had great attendance online. But again, people were like, people weren't happy to be online. But I think for me, like, I really underestimated how much work virtual programming was going to be. Like the very first year, I was like, great, like we figured out the system we're going to use. We know what we're going to do. This is going to be so easy, right? Like we're just on our computer. We're just running this thing online. We're not running around from venue to venue and setting up stages and tearing stuff down and tracking people. I thought it's going to be so easy. It was exhausting. It was just as exhausting as an in-person festival, and I completely underestimated that. And what was the original question?
It was about the biggest struggle.
What were the biggest challenges? Yeah, I guess the one thing I was going to say, that's why I was like, does this have relevance on the question? But my colleagues coming together, has been really incredible. Like, we all faced incredible challenges, but the way we rallied together and supported one another, and even when, there was worries about funding cuts and things like that, we all really advocated for the arts and really tried to. Everyone was information sharing. Nobody was hiding anything. It was just like, don't do this thing online. It's terrible. Or do this, like helping each other out. So, in the end, we were able to overcome those challenges by coming together. So I guess there's a silver lining. And we're all working together more closely, I think, because of that now.
So tell us what this year looks like, as you were saying that it's going to be in person or online.
In person.
Anything different that your regular
We're doing
long-term attenders would expect?
yeah, we're doing some things differently this year. We're giving more time for lunch breaks. We're revamping our poetry slam to this amazing poetry showcase that we're really excited about. What else? We've changed.
Well,
Thursday's changed.
You missed Lori's smirking over here because you missed when Amanda was downstairs letting people up for the event tonight. The journalist from the newspaper was here, and everyone was calling me out because they're like, "Wait a minute, you moved the film to like a matinee,
Yeah.
and there's workshops on at the same time. Now I have to choose between the film and a workshop." So I was like, "Thanks, guys!" Like right in front of the journalist, So we'll see what comes out in the newspaper. But so there's some different things. So we did, we are working with fewer venues this year, and so there will be some changes, but everything's going to feel familiar. So our reception this year is going to be in the May Wilson Theater. We're still going to have some lovely desserts, but not like shared buffet style. And then the Saskatchewan Writers Guild is going to host a reception afterwards, like a little cocktail hour after the reception inside the theater. So it's going to be like a really lovely evening in the Moose Jaw Cultural Center. So that's a little bit different from before, which is also why we had to move the film earlier in the day, because we're going to enhance the evening program but be using the same venue. So I apologize. Anybody who's upset,
I am a
write
little
me-
concerned
write me an
about
email.
this poetry slam. That happens to be my favorite event.
Oh,
Oh,
Well,
we've
for
got
the
an
festival.
amazing
Yes.
lineup for it.
You won't be
I
disappointed.
don't think I'm like.
You won't be disappointed, I promise you.
We're
Okay.
so excited.
It's
So,
gonna be great.
what's your favorite event of the festival?
So I've worked for the festival since 2010, and every single year, multiple times a year, journalists ask me, who are you the most excited about? Or what are you the most excited about? And for the first few years, I would say who I was most excited about. And now I can't do that, because what ends up happening after this many years, even when there's artists I'm excited about, by the end of the festival, I've had some sort of amazing experience or deep connection with somebody totally unexpected, somebody who maybe like an emerging writer who's coming for the first time, or going to the slam or the spoken word stuff and discovering the work or a piece of work that was just so beautiful and unexpected. So it's kind of a cop-out, I guess, to say like everything, everyone, but I am the most excited about like that gem that's going to happen, or that experience that's going to happen, or that story. Like sometimes it's just like, sometimes it's an attendee coming up to me and being like, wow, this session was so incredible, and they've inspired me to go out and do this thing. So that's what I'm always the most excited about. And every year I'm like, this is the best lineup we've ever had, because I love what I do and I love the festival, and I'm excited about arts and literature and everyone who comes. So but I don't know, I am excited. I'm really excited about seeing the new spoken word event and the audience response, right? Like, I really want to talk to you and other people who are like, I love the slam and now you've changed it. So like, I want to talk to you guys afterwards and see what everybody thought.
So
And,
will there be any like voting on the poets?
I don't think so,
I really like
but
that part.
we are hoping to still have like audience interaction.
Interaction, that's good.
So
Yeah.
we're still working on some
We're-
things behind
we
the scenes.
still-
Yeah, get snapping.
We
get
still
snapping.
want like some of my favorite moments from the festival have come from the slam in years past. Like one of the things that I used to talk about the most Muriel Miller, if you're out there,
Yes, we were just talking about her in a meeting today.
yeah, still the harp on the stage with
Yes.
Ian Ketaku as the feature was like the most incredible thing I've ever seen.
Even the story's incredible.
Even the story is incredible, and yeah, and so we want to take those moments. We want to like make this like really special event, and so I think it's going to be really cool.
Little bit of background. So Ian Ketaku was a spoken word artist who came to the festival. What year was that? It was several years ago.
It
now,
was 2017.
I was going to say
I
17.
think.
And the story goes that Ian was walking through Crescent Park, and there was she playing in the park?
Yeah.
Like she was playing her harp in the park, just like sitting. And so he sat down and started talking to her, and he said to her like, "Oh, I'm doing a feature event with the festival in the May Wilson Theater tonight. Do you want to come and play your harp while I perform?" So she showed up dressed. She was all dressed so nice, and she had her harp, and she was on stage, and she played her harp music while Ian Ketaku recited his poetry. It was totally
And
impromptu.
it was a light up harp, and it was the coolest thing
It
I've
lit
ever
up,
seen.
It lit up. We were just talking about this in another meeting today. Actually, it's funny because the team at the Moose Jaw Cultural Center was talking about like these amazing moments on stage at the theater, and that came up. They were talking about the harp and like that moment when Ian Ketaku brought her in. It was so impromptu, and we were talking about how at first it was like, oh, the lights are really shining off the harp in a really cool way, and then you realize it was a light up harp. It was just a really amazing experience. Yeah, it's great.
So are we at 26 years this year?
26, yeah. So
26
some people are
years.
calling this festival 25 2.0 because we kind of
we
missed
the big
we
25th.
missed
So
the big 25th celebration.
we're at 26 now. You're gonna
Yeah.
have to keep coming for the next 4 years, and we'll do a big 30.
That's right. That's right. We're already like, you know.
But what do
playing
those
with
years
ideas.
look like?
Right.
What's the future look like? What's
So-
any big changes coming after this?
I'd like to think so. I'd like to think so in terms of like in person or even like online experiences. Our strategic plan, our organizational strategic plan, this is kind of the last year of the one that we had in place, and it is like you look at it now and you're like, wow, you didn't see a pandemic coming, right? So
Nobody put that
we
into any
needed
of this.
to- that's
strategic
right. We
plans.
did not plan for this. So what we actually did was we worked with some artists and a couple of artists/arts consultants last winter, and we with our board and staff, and we held what we called a strategic dreaming session and talked a lot about, Lori, you were there, talked a lot about what we could be, right? And it was really great in the sense that I felt like there was no like pressure to come up with like a strategic plan in the middle of a pandemic and how are we going to get through this and how are we going to do that. But it was this really beautiful session where it was like everybody there could kind of talk about their vision and their dream of like what the festival could be, and some really cool ideas about, you know, creating some more immersive experiences for attendees and to kind of find new ways to blow people's minds at the festival beyond the writing, of course.
And I think we're coming, you know, we're still in the pandemic, like starting to come out of the pandemic and host this first festival in person. It couldn't be exactly what it was before the pandemic, just because of, you know, we still have to think about safety and foods and things like that. And so it's really given us an opportunity to experiment and explore different event styles and
It's true, yeah.
And it's allowed us to, so like one thing we didn't mention, every author at the festival is going to be live streamed at least once at the festival. All of our sessions from the Art Museum Theater are going to be streamed. Everything from May Wilson is going to be streamed. And so it's allowing us like this cool time to experiment and see what happens and see where we can take the festival in the future.
And I think that was key for us as staff. Like, once we got over the like shock of pandemic and trying to figure out what to do, we really, we're just so lucky to have the group of volunteers and board of directors that we have, because they really, they were really like, yeah, let's do something, like try it. They I know some organizations, their boards were like, I don't know, that's not in our mandate, and should we do that? I don't know. But our board was just like, yeah, go for it. They were cheerleaders for continuing programming. And so like Amanda said, we really got to be like, oh, cool, like what can we do? Like,
Yeah.
let's try this, sure, and do some really new things. And I think the other thing too, to build on what Amanda was saying, was that by hosting virtual festivals, we also found new audiences. The number of people who were from other countries all over the world, other provinces, people who were sending us messages saying, I live in a remote area, or I have a disability, I can't get to the festival ever. Thank you for hosting this online. We found a new community, and so now that restrictions are being lifted and we're moving to in person, we didn't want to abandon that community. They're part of. I said, you're our family. They're our family. We need, like they're our people. So to be able to bring them along and live stream our events, and so they can have a festival experience online as well, was really important to us.
I truly believe that if you are going to come out of this pandemic and go back just to the way things were before, I really think you missed a big part of what the pandemic was about. And that's something that I have always loved about the festival. It's adapting, it's changing, bringing everyone is welcome at the festival. It doesn't matter if you live in Moose Jaw or not.
Yeah.
And how can you serve them? You guys have done that remarkably well, and I think that you've been recognized that in many ways for that work, and you guys definitely deserve that. So, great job.
Thanks, Lori. And honestly, we've been lucky. We've got great staff, but great volunteers and great supporters, and like you, when I'm like, hey, Lori, do you want to come do something at our launch? And you're like, sure. What am I signing up for? So having, you've put in so much time as a volunteer and a board member, and really continuing the support. And we do have a great team here. And if you're from away and you want to come here, I hear stories at the festival every year about how I didn't even know this group of people, and they took me for lunch and took me under their wing and just took me around to all the events. So you will quickly get absorbed into the wave of action at the festival. Somebody will show you the ropes. So
Yeah, I was laughing at Sarah. I'm going to tell this story
oh no,
now. Because with my first festival, it's 2016 or 2017, and I was presenting, and I got all these notes on what to say, and I just had to read them, and they were so beautifully prepared. This is what I got today. Questions? Sound good? Sure.
yeah.
So I think that was her way of saying that, Lori, you know what you're doing. Here you go. And
We
uh,
trust you.
We trust you.
I don't know why
Also-
people trust me so much. I'll say anything in front of the journalist.
That's right. Call me out, Sarah. Hey, why did you do this? No, but that's the thing though. Where these conversations happen around, at the coffee shop on a regular basis. We talk about these things together, and the three of us have worked together for so long. It was like, yeah, we need to have a conversation with Lori because we can just, it'll be easy. That's why I didn't give you much guidance. Plus, you're going to school for journalism and all of
Yeah.
that. I'm making you work for it. So yeah,
Is that the time on here?
yes, it is. Yeah,
We can say a lot in 13 minutes.
that's
Oh,
enough
no.
time.
20.
I'm like, that was
28.
28 minutes. That's
20
perfect.
minutes.
28
Yeah,
minutes.
we
That's
wanted it to
about
be
what
30
we're
minutes.
aiming for.
We were aiming. That's
pretty good.
perfect. See, I told
Yeah.
you could do it, and you only had 4 points on your notes.
I only had 4 points. That's right. Okay. Any last words? What to expect this summer? What you want to see? Who you want to see out? Call them out. Tell them to get here.
Everybody. I want the people who are sitting there going, oh, I've always thought about going, but I've just never been. This is the year. Just come.
Yeah,
and,
just come.
and you don't have to come and buy a full pass and stay for the full 4 days. You can absolutely just come to 1 or 2 events, dip your toes in the water, see what we're all about. It's easy, it's accessible, we're right downtown. If you've thought about coming to Moose Jaw before, just come here and check it out, or watch some of our stuff online. It'll give you a really good idea of what our programming's all about and who we are and what we do. And call our office if you have any questions.
Yeah.
We're happy to talk to people and get first-time attendees going to stuff. And then, to our people who have come every year for 26 years, we're here for you. And we just want you to know that your safety is our top concern, but also having a great time while you're here.
Yep.
So come on.
I don't have anything else to add. I just agree with Sarah. That's our relationship. I just agree with Sarah.
It's not true. That's not true at all.
Well, thank you very much. It's
Thank
been a
you, Lori.
pleasure as always.
Thank you. Great. And I'm going to awkwardly shut the stream off now. There's no fun way to do that that's not